Tonight in Arkansas, there's a mother tucking in her daughter and turning off the light. A business owner's burning the midnight oil. An at-home dinner date is plating up possibility. And it's all happening under one roof. How? The power of a conversation, like the one John from Integrity Solutions had with First Horizon Bank about his vision for a sustainable mixed-use building. Now it's not just words, it's life. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/John. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.
You probably know the feeling. Sweaty, fast breathing, quick heart rate. That's a cortisol spike. It feels awful, and its imbalance is the cause of your anxiety. Rebalance Health's 3-part anxiety system helps address it at the root. Rebalance Health lozenges are natural and designed for optimal absorption, providing 24-hour relief. Live life fully without feeling like you're fighting for it. Get 50% off your first month with code CALM23 at rebalancehealth.com.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. What's going on, everybody? It's Thursday. We're a day late, but we're here. How are you, Fruit Loop?
I'm good. Got in late last night, but we got in like 1:30 in the morning. We spent 3 days traveling around. My friend Sarah speaking at some churches and sharing about her ministry that she's with. And we figured out we drove over 700 miles in 3 days.
Whoa.
So
that's a lot. Sarah's here with us.
Yeah, she's getting to watch what goes on behind the scenes.
Slightly nervous over here, but I'm good.
Yeah. So
I can't make the weird faces I make when it's just you and me and you can't see me.
Yeah. She may get to see you almost fall into a chair or something though. So
I am taking every step with purpose today.
Yeah.
And but I have to say, I bought this really cool new carpet shampooer, and for 10 minutes I tried to shampoo up a shadow. I was like, why is this not coming up? And it was the shadow of the table in here in the studio. So that's the kind of day I'm having.
Hey, at least it's clean, really good right there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I worked hard. So I have to eat 2 plates of crow today.
I've laughed so hard over these.
Okay. So number 1, I went to Asheville with my daughters, and it took me an hour and 10 to get there. So I think maybe I've just learned to slow down in my older age.
Yeah. Your lead foot is gone.
Yeah, it's not quite lead. It's more like aluminum. Very lightweight.
It's a little arthritic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That right knee is very arthritic. And so everybody that listens has been wonderful in letting me know that I said Chan. And so I guess I don't need to buy you a hearing aid for Christmas.
See?
I need to get some memory boosting supplements, apparently.
Yeah. Chad. We'll call him Chan. Chan Daybell. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, we are going to start a new series today, in addition to everything that we normally cover. And we're going to get to that in just a bit. We're really excited about this. I think this is going to go on for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah. So what's going on today? We just had some new filings right before we went on.
Yeah. So there was a pro hack vice filed for both Lori and Chad today.
Mm-hmm.
Pro hack vice is a legal term for adding an attorney to a case in a jurisdiction in which he or she is not licensed to practice in such a way that the attorney does not commit unauthorized practice of law.
Well, that got our ears turned up.
Yeah.
But it's a little confusing right now. We don't know who filed that, whether it is the defense or the prosecution. However, some people online have noticed that when Rob Wood files his motions, he does the last name in all caps.
He's yelling.
I'm
filing this. Yeah.
So it looks like the way Rob Wood files things, but we're not legal eagles. We're not trained professionals. We're just speculating. And so we talked about the couple of different things it could be, and we'll leave the official word to people like Scott Reich who actually know what they're talking about. But what are the couple of reasons this might have been filed?
Okay, so my initial reaction after we rolled it over a little bit, when you talk about somebody not licensed to practice there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be another state. So I immediately said, if it's another state, is it Arizona with Charles?
Could be. Or I guess the other is just as probable to speculate that could it be that Chad and Lori both, because it was filed for both of them. Could it be that they're bringing on additional attorneys to represent them? We don't know.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested to hear some of the Legal Eagles' opinions on what this could be. I think regardless of what it means, I think things are moving along now a little quicker than they have been.
Yeah, we would go weeks without anything. So
yeah, and then you have this big secret hearing last week that was done in the breakout rooms. They vacated the motion to dismiss. They've rescheduled a hearing for April the 7th at 1:30 for them. It's supposed to be live streamed, but I don't think we're probably going to be able. I think it's going to end up in another breakout session.
It's going to be like, hey, we're here. Bye, we're gone.
Yeah.
And then we are on hold for 50 minutes and they come back and say, oh, all that's sealed. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So we're still trying to figure out about the ex parte protective order. We just don't know what's going on with that either. And that just means that they're not disclosing something to the other side.
Something's big.
I think so. We've read what a couple of legal analysts have said. And what have they said, Fruit Loop?
That they think maybe Tylee or Tammy's autopsy is back and that's why it was filed.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while.
Yep.
Since they've been both put in jail. It's been a while since the kids' bodies were found. It seems like it should be time for some charges. But then again, maybe not on our time, because I'll tell you what we're going to find out when we start doing this series is that the person I know that's in jail for murder was in county jail for over 3 years until she went to trial. So,
Dude,
I mean,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I don't think anything's going to be quick in this case. We may get charges. We're not going to get a trial for a few years easy.
Yeah.
There's too much going on. But it'll be interesting to see what this is about.
Yep.
You know what I was thinking about? Do you remember, like, I think this was probably about a year ago when Chad tried to have the mobile home put on his land. I don't know why I randomly thought of that the other day.
I do remember that.
Yeah, you forget about little things as the case rolls on and time passes, but I know it was denied, but I was always curious to find out where he wanted that trailer.
Yep. I say it would have been in one of those two spots.
I think so.
Yep.
So moving on to the Wagner case, nothing's really happened there, but we do have some updates on dates.
So George, his hearing is coming up on April 5th. Angela's is May 12th. And then Jake's is April 12th and May 21st.
Yeah, so there's just some hearings to hear some motions coming up. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yep.
The only trial that's been scheduled so far is Jake's, and that is scheduled for August.
Yeah.
So we're really hoping that streams and we can live tweet it and do all that. I think it's going to be very interesting to see finally some of the evidence they have against these people.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lot.
Yep. So moving on to the stalk case, the Gannon stalk case, Al shared a photo of the memorial at Gannon's school. He said he didn't want all the news to be about Letitia.
And I think that's good.
Because we know
she stays in the news, and sometimes it can seem like the victims sort of get lost in the hoopla of as the cases sort of go in and out of court for hearings and that kind of thing. And then you've got Letitia's shenanigans. And so I thought it was really cool that his dad just said, look, here's the memorial at his school. It was a super cute picture of him. I tweeted and Facebooked it out. I think I put it on Instagram. We just have to keep the victims in the news. I mean, just keep their names out there.
Yeah. Yep. And then you found some stuff. There was something new. I've been out of the loop. I'm sorry, guys. I hadn't responded to anything hardly.
Yeah. And before I want to say, I do not know how to respond to reviews on Apple for our podcast, but a big thank you to everybody who's left a good review. I just don't know how to say thanks on there. So thank you. And then on YouTube, we have had some people message us and say certain things aren't being posted on there. And I'm honestly, I just can't figure out how to post something in addition to the uploading the podcast. So if you go to our social media pages, Facebook and Twitter are where we're most active, you'll see anything that we've talked about on the show. Until I figure out how to do YouTube.
The only thing you can do is put a link in the description below.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. The only reason why I know that is because when I watch something, it'll say, hey, I'm going to put the link in the description below.
Yeah. And of course, it's the same person that tried to mop up what am I saying?
Vacuum up.
Not vacuum, shampoo a shadow
Yeah.
for 10 minutes today. So
Yeah, I'm worried about you trying to vacuum up a shadow.
yeah.
What, you Peter Pan or something? You remember in Peter Pan when, he's like his shadow, he's playing with his shadow or something?
Yes, it's been a while since I've watched that.
Well, I watched Hook, the movie Hook.
Did you watch Kindergarten Cop this weekend?
I did not. Did you? You were the one that had the homework to watch it.
No, I'm on a First 48 kick, and that show is just great. It's an hour of it. It's such an insight into the investigation process, crime scene, and how they track people down and that kind of thing. So I've been on a binge with that lately. Maybe Kindergarten Cop will be on tap tonight.
Yeah, I think First 48 goes to Tucson a lot.
They do.
That's
yeah.
near Sarah's area out there in the desert of Arizona.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a neat show. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, so Kendrick Johnson, we just started covering that last week. And this is the case where the young man was found dead, rolled up in the gym mat. And you and I talked about how it's almost impossible to climb through there. So yesterday, I just happened to stumble upon a Facebook Live where the family of Kendrick Johnson was in front of maybe in front of the sheriff's office. And they say they have an apparent confession on tape.
I didn't click on it, but I saw the heading and that. But didn't somebody sell it to him or something?
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if this is what if this is a crime or not. It seems like if somebody has evidence of a confession of a possible murder, you would go to the cops with it. But whoever this knucklehead is sold the confession to the family of Kendrick Johnson for $1,000.
Okay, red flag.
Karma bus gonna hit that person between the eyes.
Red flag. Like if you have evidence, turn it over.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna end well for that person.
So it was a family member of the person.
Right. So apparently they had recorded secretly somebody who was a young man, I'm assuming maybe went to school with Kendrick, who said, and I'm quoting, "I should have never done this. I was young and stupid. Kendrick didn't deserve this. They are going to catch me anyway."
Uh-oh.
So the sheriff has the audio recording and they verified that they have the audio recording and they are analyzing it. So it could be nothing. It could be something. Whoever gave this to the family probably has already met with the sheriff's office today, I would imagine.
I would think so. And giving that $1,000 back.
Right, yeah.
You better give them a refund.
Yeah, with interest.
Yeah.
Oh, man. People are just selfish.
Yeah. All for $1.
Yep. So we are going to start something new. And if you don't follow us on social media, this is news to you guys.
Okay, can I say we're not stopping any coverage of any case?
No.
This is just extra.
Right. This gives us interesting content to share when things get really quiet. As you know, it happens. And I really don't feel like going back and doing Melanie Pulowski's history and, Alex's background. We've done that.
This is very insightful.
This is super insightful. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of background. And then we're going to jump into it. So I have a friend who is in prison for life for first-degree murder with special circumstance. So she actually got life in prison plus 8 years. I will say she did not physically commit the murder. That was proven in court. It was her actions before and after. So I think this is relevant to Chad and Lori in that her case is a good example of how if you knew about something beforehand, although she says she did not know the girl was going to be killed.
Gotcha.
It was her actions before and after that if you're committing a felony and somebody dies, you get the first degree murder charge a lot of times too if you're there and you knew about it before or helped after. So that's where she is. I've known her since I was probably 11 or 12. long time. We were trying to figure out how long we've known each other, and it's been a while. I will say she was always very, very kind to me. She was a fun person to be around, and she come from a really, really wonderful family of servants for people. These people have dedicated their life to taking care of people who need it. So years ago, right when she got arrested, she this was before email. So she had to hand write me letters. And before she started writing me, I was browsing the internet one day. And after everybody graduated high school, we didn't go to school together. We just had common friends and that sort of thing. We all lost touch because we didn't have Facebook to be nosy. So I was on a website one day and I see her picture and I see murder. So initially my thought was something had happened to her. And then I read further and realize she is implicated in a murder. And so I was shocked, called a couple of people that knew her as well. And they knew what I knew, which was what was in the news. So probably 6 months after that, I got a letter from her, and we kept in touch, maybe 2-3 letters. And at the time I had really small kids, so I just didn't have time, to be honest. And didn't.
Now you've got 3 big kids and still don't have time.
I don't have time. Right? And add on a cat and 2 dogs and a partridge in a pear tree. And I'm lucky if I can blink. So it was a shock, I will say, because she has no criminal history prior to this. So it's a lot like Lori in that she was a middle-class woman with no prior history who is now, my friend is in jail for life. And of course, Lori is in, or she's in prison for life. And this girl.
Well, she's in jail right now.
Oh gosh, see, dude, my
it's
brain.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank
it's
you.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, we're hoping for life, but.
Yes. And I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
So we lost touch over the years. She had her trial, was found guilty, and was sentenced. So about 2 weeks ago, I guess, was it about 2.5 weeks ago, I get a letter from her in the mailbox. And it says, I'm not sure if this is still your address. And it's really long and detailed about where she's at now, what's going on. And so at first, I didn't know if I wanted to respond. And I kind of thought about it for a minute. And at first I wasn't, because with what we do, we are 100% victims advocates.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we shared a lot of really fun times together when we were kids, and I decided to. So I signed up for JPay, which you guys have heard of, talking about Lori and Chad and everybody else that we cover. And that is a service you go through to email people who are incarcerated. So,
did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I created the account and put stamps in my account. You have to buy stamps. Every email that you send costs money. And you can do a prepaid response for the person that you're writing to where they don't have to pay out of their pocket or whatever. So we got to thinking, Fruit Loop and I were just thinking about what could we do with her permission that would add to this podcast and educate at the same time too.
Yeah, give some inside information.
And I will say I've gotten about 70 emails full of insider information.
Yeah, what I've read is it's good stuff.
Yeah. So essentially she is walking me through from arrest, county jail, trial, all the delays, prison, and then adapting to life in prison.
Yep.
So she has written throughout her years of being incarcerated, and she saves them on her tablet or on a cloud or whatever. Now, these tablets, as far as where she is, you can only email, listen to music, and pull up like an Amazon Kindle. They can't browse.
So read books.
Right. They can't browse the internet freely. You're not supposed to have social media or anything like that. So it's very basic.
I wonder if that's how Lori's reading Chad's books.
It could be.
Dude, we need to get that petition back up to get them books off there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I wonder if they're still on. I haven't checked.
I hadn't either.
Yeah. So what we want to do is we're not really putting an episode limit or a time limit on this. We're just going to make this a regular thing because she has a lot to say. And we may switch back. We may get to the point to where we're talking about life in prison and then jump back to jail because she has hundreds of letters that a family member who lives close by has from all of her time in county jail to the first few years in prison. And she said that that really is a better representation than what her memory can remember at this point.
Sure.
So we're going to get those hopefully pretty soon, but I think it's just going to be a big deal for us.
Yeah. And I just looked, you can still get his books on Kindle and paperback.
Ugh.
Blah.
Do you want to read some more of his books?
No, you made me read that one. That was enough. That was like torture. It was like, when you go to Disney World and you got that little thing you hang your head in and your arms in. Yeah. That's what I felt like.
What do they call it? Like the guillotine? Is it the guillotine?
No, guillotine thing. Guillotine, it cuts your head off, I think. That's that thing that way back when they dropped in, like, when you did something bad. No, that's not. That's like, I don't even know what it's called. If Sarah was mic'd up over here, we could ask her. She's a walking encyclopedia. She could tell you. So, yeah. No, that's what I felt like reading that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just thought that, especially a lot of people wonder what the thought process or the experience might be right now for Chad and Lori. And then we look down the road and we've always heard that jail is much different than prison. And now I know this to be true reading all of these different writings.
Yeah.
So she has a quote that she had written for a website that works with prisoners who enjoy creative writing. And I think this is kind of a good representation, maybe, of what it's like. She says, prison is a society outside of society. There are criminals and convicts. Most of the prisoners are just convicts, but there is a large portion of the population that is criminals. Criminals are those who hold on to their criminal behavior and have no intentions of changing. Convicts are those who happen to be convicted of a crime. Criminals are the ones who challenge staff, rules, security, and safety of the facility. The sad part is that the restrictions and confinements of prison are based on actions of the criminals. So
that's a huge statement. Prison is a society outside of society.
Yes, and
it's so true.
It is very true. Every action is just so different than the way we do things out here.
Yeah.
Clearly. And then she goes on to say, it is easy to see why so many embrace the mentality of why bother and embrace being a criminal. So I thought that was pretty powerful.
Yeah.
Now, you and I had talked about naming her and going in depth about her crime.
Yep.
But the more we thought about it, we just didn't think it was fair to the victim's family. I don't know them. I don't know how to get in touch with them. And I don't know that I would if I did.
Sure.
We don't want to be the source of pain for any family who's suffering with that magnitude of a loss. And I don't know that it really matters. She's got life in prison. She was involved roundabout in a murder.
Sure. That's why it's important, like, to know who you're around. And I mean, I've said it before, everybody's one bad decision away from being in some of these people's shoes. So
exactly. And yeah. I will say, knowing her, I think in some ways it is not a mirror of Lori because she did not kill a child. This was an adult. This was a young woman in her early 20s that died. And, people that hurt children, in prison, we will get to that. It's not going to be pleasant
Oh no.
for Lori or Chad at all. But let's go ahead and start.
Okay, so in county jail, they will likely be isolated somewhat. She says this is a blessing and a curse. That being isolated can make it hard to adjust to being in jail. In isolation, you don't have a cellmate, obviously. So the good thing is that you don't have to deal with a cellmate. But the worst part of it is being alone with your thoughts for 23 hours a day.
I can't imagine. I would not thrive in prison.
No.
I would curl up in a corner and just cry for my mom.
Yeah. So she built fears of what was to come.
Mm-hmm. We're going to call her Jane.
All right, that sounds good.
Because her name you could probably Google and figure it out. But.
Yeah. So Jane had a cellmate who had done prison time and tried to prepare her, but she said in the end nothing could prepare you for prison.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly, I'm a big I'm right now finished just reading Corey Ten Boom again because I'm getting ready to do that production or whatever. And some of this, what she was describing for me, was like during the Holocaust when they did these horrible things and took these people and put them in these death camps and all this stuff. So when she's saying some of this stuff, that's what was popping into my mind is, and I think you'll get to it in a minute, you pull up on a bus and, I mean, you're not going to New York. I mean, you're pulling up in a bus and you're getting ready to be behind bars in a prison system and not get out.
Right. And one thing that we will get to in a future episode that I do want to talk about briefly, she has given me 4 solid emails that are about 3,000 words each on what it is like to give birth in prison because when she was arrested, she was pregnant.
Wow.
So during her trial, she gave birth. No, I'm sorry.
Dude, like.
That would have been a 3-year pregnancy. Sorry.
I was about to say in the courtroom.
That's how all mine felt.
I thought he was like she just gave birth in the courtroom.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
she gave birth. I don't know how pregnant she was when she was arrested, but ultimately, that is heartbreaking.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing too that I wanted to say really quick is, I started the point earlier, but my little ADD brain. I've kind of struggled with how to approach my friendship with her. I don't want to say that we're friends. Right now we're pen pals, and I think that she feels she's found somebody she can talk to, and it's beneficial for our podcast.
Yeah.
But I do care for her. I've known her since I was a kid. I never had any negative interactions with her. This is the only thing, it's a big thing, but no prior record. And I can say when Kay and Larry and Colby and everybody says we never saw it coming, I feel the same way about my friend.
Sure.
Out of anybody I knew, I probably would have put her at the very bottom of the list, but I do think that she got in with the wrong person.
Yeah.
Who made her feel important and made her feel loved and all the things. I mean, she come from a great family. There was no lack there, and she'll tell you she had a wonderful childhood.
Yeah.
But I don't want people to I don't want to lie and say that I hate her.
Yeah. Well, you can't turn feelings off like that.
No.
Like
she is still a human being, and I'm not built that way. So I'm not going to apologize for saying that sometimes I do feel bad for her.
Sure.
But I still understand the gravity of what she did and how it changed so many lives.
Yeah.
Forever. So there.
So she goes on to say that once you're arrested, you relive your whole life. Like every thought is a rethought, and you think about every what if.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are you going to do?
There's nothing more to do because even with her they do have TVs in their cell.
For real?
They have small TVs. They are able to get some cable. It's I don't think they get movie channels. So for her, she likes to watch kind of the do-it-yourself channel or people that do tiny houses or whatever. She says she lays in her cell and imagines how she would do the cell if she could make it into a tiny house, that kind of thing.
I hope they don't show the Andy Griffith episode where Barney gives him a metal filing kit to learn to make a craft, and you make a pass key and get out. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you some of the little tips and tricks that she has told me about makeup and cooking in your cell. It'll blow your mind, and that's going to be part of all this eventually.
Yeah.
But can you imagine knowing that you're in custody, okay, so you were involved in something where somebody lost their life, and then it has to be really hard to know that all of a sudden the rest of your life may be pretty much where you are now.
Yeah.
Behind bars. And so I can't imagine, first of all, I can't imagine hurting anybody, but I can't imagine if I were to have to go to jail, the what ifs. I mean, what if I just had not done that? One bad choice and life plus 8.
Yeah. Well, you go through every stage of grief.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying. Denial, anger.
Right. You have what do you call it? One's like denial, anger, and then you have like acceptance, all those. And I can see, because it's almost like the death of her. I mean, and that's the 5 stages of grief when there is a death.
Okay. I'm going to say, if I couldn't be locked up in there.
No.
Like, I'd go crazy.
Yes.
I can't.
Yeah. But
No.
but I think it's just the person that you left, the person that existed before you were handcuffed and hauled off is gone.
Yeah, you're told where to go, what to do, when to eat, when to go to bed, when to get up.
What to wear, where to walk. There's so much.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
she said the big thing for her is that you grieve the loss of your prior life.
Wow.
And for her, it was bigger because she was pregnant with her first child.
And I would think that when you talk to your family or whatever, if you talk to them, for me, that would be, you would like relive it every time.
Yeah.
Like you relive every time. Oh, I can't see you in person. Oh, I can't. You know what I mean?
Right. And one of the things that we talked about actually last night, I couldn't sleep from 2 to 5. And so for her, she really tries to be a hermit. And in their cell, it's her and 7 other women. So there's such a dynamic because you could be in there with somebody who's a millionaire, and you could be in there with somebody who is homeless, somebody who has a PhD, and somebody who can't write their name. And they all have to exist together. And then you may have somebody in there with mental illness. So when they have an episode, you have to learn how to deal with that to keep not only you safe, but the person safe. Because
Wow.
there are so many prisoners compared to the number of staff members. And so these girls learn how to deal with stuff like this really quickly.
Yeah, I think it's under 500 square feet.
She says that there are,
It's like 19 by 24, I think she said.
I have
So
the
that's-
measurements on down there, but their bunk beds are literally 3 feet apart. So for her, what she does to cope and stay sane is she sleeps all day, unless they have to do all the security checks. They have to get up for chow. They have to do all this if you have a job. But what she does is sleep all day, and then she stays up all night because it's the quietest.
Wow.
She said that at the last check, everybody goes in their cell, and then the snoring starts, and then she said within an hour it kind of goes to low hums, and then she can get lost in a book or something on TV, or a lot of times she'll email me a lot during the night. I get my emails from her all night.
Wow.
So she stays asleep just because she is in the appeal process right now. And the last thing that I read, the California Supreme Court had denied her petition for a new trial or some stuff. She does have something coming up in April where she is asking for a resentencing hearing to see if there's a way she could possibly get a parole option. But so far, the courts have denied her everything.
Yep.
And we respect the court's decision. She
Yeah.
was convicted in a court of law, and in spite of the fact she's my friend, I mean,
They saw the case. They saw the evidence.
And
so-
I've read a lot of the case and a lot of the evidence, and it like I say, she didn't commit the murder, but before and after, when you're involved, I've used this in the last couple of weeks with my kids, because I've said to them, who you hang out with. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is proof. If you get in with the wrong people and they get in your head and they convince you to do something that normally you wouldn't do, but you do, look at her now.
Yeah. I think this gives a little insight because we all worry, is Chad going to get off? Is whatever. This gives a little insight into she actually didn't commit the murder, but she was there prior and after. So
didn't even really plan. Just arranged for a meeting.
Yeah.
And then afterwards possibly got rid of some evidence, but never was accused of actually murdering her.
Yeah.
So it's a big lesson.
Yeah, most definitely. She says that most who are arrested for big crimes know that statistically you will be convicted. Mm-hmm. That lawyers, for the most part, are not optimistic.
Right.
So once arrested, proving your innocence at trial is very slim. Mm-hmm. That after conviction and sentencing, she said a numbness.
Did you miss your deadline to renew your Medicaid coverage? You can still send your completed annual review form to Healthy Connections Medicaid. You may be assigned to another health plan, but you can ask to come back to First Choice within 60 days of renewed Medicaid eligibility. It's your family. It's your choice. First Choice is the right choice. Renew and choose us. Visit selecthealthofsc.com/renew to learn more.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
That's in. Everyone she's talked to experienced the same thing. You get to a point where you just want to get it all over with.
Yeah, and I don't think that she ever, from the way she talks to me, I don't think she ever thought she would get off or that she would be found innocent. But if you think about it, you're waiting over 3 years for trial and all the delays that come with it and all the motions. And I guess either way, you just want to have some finality after 3.5 years. So she talks about the transport bus going from jail to prison. And she said the hours on the transport bus are surreal. Fear and numbness takes turns being in control. You're shackled from the waist and the legs. And once you arrive and the bus door opens, your shackles are removed and you're placed in a group holding cell where she was strip searched in a room full of other women who were coming in that day. And the conversation is just very generic. What are you in for? How long do you have? And also talking about gang affiliations.
Yeah, because when you go in, I know you have to put all that in.
Mm-hmm. They check for tattoos that would identify gang affiliations, but people, according to her, people are very proud to establish themselves as part of this gang or that gang. Where she is, there is a North and South gang. So you kind of say, well, I'm from the North this gang or I'm from the South this gang. And that becomes your group in prison.
Dude, I'm going to be like, what is it? Shawshank Redemption when he tunnels out through the toilet or something?
Get like a poster of some hot dude to hang on my cell.
Flush myself down the commode.
Yeah.
Make a break for it. Come on.
I have to say, just reading her emails, and there have been plenty, I'm claustrophobic reading them and thinking about it. To think about being that limited, I can't even imagine it almost. I have to kind of bring myself out of it because I get panicky. It's just, you can't leave. It's just so, it's foreign to us because we don't break the law.
Yeah.
But, like Lori, my friend, is a middle-class white woman with no prior history, no gang affiliation, and she's moderately to higher educated.
Yeah.
And this is her reality now.
Yeah.
She had a good job. She had a great paying job. She had nice things. She had a house. None of that mattered when she was sitting in that courtroom.
Sure. So Sarah over here is texting me like when we're talking about this stuff. So I'm over here reading. She actually did an internship in a jail, a local jail. So she's telling me like they make games from dominoes. Like they carve them out of soap bars into pieces. So that's how they play. They make a game like shooting hairbands at a brick wall. That they basically become like kids because maybe somebody don't like breakfast, but they like lunch, so they would like trade off and get 2 breakfasts and stuff like that. They trade food items.
Yeah, she's mentioned that in several emails
for like clothes and stuff.
If we shot hair bands at walls and we were in prison together, I'd just shoot them at your leg.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't gonna lie.
I'm gonna pop you.
I would totally just aim for like that tender part of your side.
That's right.
Yeah.
Smack. So she says once you're processed, you're given a bedroll and taken to your building and cell.
She said that she has chronic back pain already because it's, I can't remember if she said it's metal or concrete, and then it's just kind of like one of those rollout mats. Yeah. Very thin. She said a lot of women there have issues with nerves and bone pain because, I mean, it's not a 5-star hotel, obviously. So
hey, wasn't there a rumor when Lori first went to, she's in Madison, right? Yeah. When she went to Madison, wasn't there a rumor like she got an extra mattress brought in or something? I think I remember reading that. So that's probably why, because it's
bad. She said it's just kind of like a military cot.
Yeah.
Very thin, and so I was asking her about women in prison. Women and men in prison who are there for crimes against children. And she said that staff typically will tell you to lie and not admit why you're in there. But she said the minute that somebody's suspicious, they just have somebody on the outside look you up. And then when they find out you've lied, it backfires majorly.
Yeah.
She said they get beaten up for lying. They get beaten up for being a coward by not admitting that you've hurt a child. And then just for the simple fact that you have hurt a child. She said being in for crimes against kids dramatically changes your prison experience all across the board.
Wow.
So it's going to be
I'm sorry, but I'm glad. Like,
yes, I agree.
I mean, you're taking a kid's life. And I mean, murder in general is horrible.
Of course.
Like any murder is horrible.
Yes.
But we know we look at children a little bit differently because they got their whole life ahead of them, and
they're helpless.
100% of the time they don't deserve what they get. So I was about to break out you know how good we are in math, like the 99.9999999. But 100%, 200%, kids don't deserve to be treated or done this way, and I'm sorry. I'm glad that their prison term is not roses and whatever. So,
I agree 100%. Because that kids are helpless and they look for adults for protection and not to hurt them. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I have no sympathy for child molesters or child murderers. I don't. And anyway.
So in the event the attacks become life-threatening, they can be moved to isolation.
Yeah, and she gave me an example. In one facility she was in, there was a case, and I bet a lot of our listeners know about it. It was about a couple that chained their 8 kids to beds for years. And finally, one of the kids got out and went to a neighbor's house, and then they called it like the House of Horrors. These kids were malnourished. There were a bunch of them, from young adult down to toddler. And they both were found guilty and got life in jail. And she told me that the mother got a vicious beating in the prison yard and had to go to protective custody. But she also says if they don't get violent towards people, like if people don't get violent towards child abusers or killers or molesters, they will become victims of what she calls nonviolent persecution. So it's kind of like a scarlet letter that's on your shirt the whole time you're in prison.
Wow.
So it almost seems like they don't find their group, they're outsiders. And they're constantly having to be aware because right now, Lori and Chad are so protected where they are. They're in teeny tiny jails. State prison is going to be very different. And I don't think that they've been prepared at all where they're at for where they're probably going.
Yeah.
It's going to be a different ball game for both of them if they're found guilty and given prison.
Sure.
So she says that weak white inmates are the biggest target. And what about herself, Fruit Loop? We were talking about that now. We come down to the measurements.
So it's a little under, it's 19 by 24, and my figures say that's a little under 500 square feet, like I think 456 or something. Mm. You got 7 people in that?
Yeah, it's insane.
Okay, here's the math, though. Well, you got 4 bunk beds. Is that, I mean...
Are you using your fingers to count?
Did you hear me counting?
I did. You did it slowly under your breath.
I was mouthing it. You guys that listen know we struggle with math. So, but is that... okay, anyways, 4 bunk beds.
She says that they're literally 3 feet apart. I think they're kind of in the center of the room. And she said that in order to prevent what they call traffic jams in the cell, that usually only 2 people can be out of their bunks at a time. Otherwise, it's just they're bumping into each other. And
you need a traffic cop in there
wow.
with a whistle dancing around.
Tempers flare, obviously. Especially she talks about the lifers being angry.
Yeah.
They have nothing to lose.
Wow. So when you're in prison, the toll is all encompassing. Mm-hmm. Each prisoner has to decide what restrictions they will resist and what they will brokenly accept. She says she struggles with remaining an individual while also being a prisoner. Yeah,
and I think if you go to prison and you know you're going to be there for life, some of the examples she gave were people that come in there straight eventually turn to women for comfort, and that's common because you're not going anywhere, and so that's going to be your only chance. But we'll get into this much later, how it's very selfish reasons, and kind of she is laid out the dynamics between men prisoners and women prisoners, and how women prisoners on the inside kind of act like women on the outside. What's in it for me?
Yeah.
And then when they're done, they're done.
So she says you can only go places you're permitted to go. You can't go visit friends or pop into the canteen. They are to stay within red lines on the floor. Outside of those lines is considered out of bounds, so failure to do so could result in disciplinary actions.
Yeah, and I understand you have hardened criminals in there, so it can't be a free for all. There's got to be a lot of structure.
Well, you basically have a military type setup.
Yes.
With criminals.
Yeah, and prison staff are outnumbered, so it has to work.
I wouldn't work in there.
I would not either.
I'm gonna tell you. When I had to serve papers, I had to go into prison and serve papers. It was very eerie to hear that clink.
Yes.
It was eerie, but it was also okay because I knew I was getting out.
Right.
But then if you got in there and they had some kind of drill and you had to stay, you get a little freaky. I was freaking out a little bit.
Okay. So I was asking her about care packages because she is giving us a lot of material for this podcast willingly, in the hopes that it might stop somebody from doing something stupid, and also just to give us an insider look at what it's like to be in prison for life plus 8 years. So what she was telling me is where she is in the state she is, and I think it might be this way in most places. Back in the old days, you could send somebody a care package, so you could go all over, get them nice stuff, and send them a big box. Now there are only certain companies that you're allowed to go through, and they differ in each state. They could be the same in each state, but each states have different ones that only that state goes through. And you only get these quarterly now. So she has her list, and she has family members who send her a quarterly care package, and that includes your shampoo, conditioner, like you can get Nike shoes, slides, flip-flops. And she said this is the only time you actually get anything that smells good or anything, because like the prison soap is non-scented, I guess, for people's allergies and stuff. So I said, okay, well, can I put $10 in your commissary account? And she said that due to the fact that she was ordered to pay restitution through the court to the family of the murder victim, she only gets about 10 to 20 cents of every dollar that is deposited into her commissary account because the rest goes to restitution.
Dude, she ain't buying nothing for 20 cents.
No, that stuff is, I guess when you're making 15 cents an hour, it's expensive stuff in jail, unless you have somebody out there who has paid your restitution. I think hers was maybe $40,000 or $50,000.
What you gonna do? You gonna buy a stick of gum?
Yeah.
Hey, I got 15 cents. How much you got? We can go together.
Well, that's what they do. Sometimes they go in together and buy commissary stuff. So somebody who may not have restitution to pay might get her things in exchange for stuff. She gets out of, there's a whole economy in prison.
Yeah, I know, like, people do, we did at my old church, prison packets. For Christmas, they would send prison packets to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
And it was all like the toothbrush had to be a certain size.
Yeah.
You could only send a certain pen.
Yep.
The soap had to be a certain size. A wash rag. Just different stuff like that. So, yeah.
Right. So I went on and looked at, just out of curiosity, I went on to the care package site. And so she has marked everything she would like in this next care package, but you're limited by ounces. So she may only be allowed like 1,000 ounces in that bag as far as the total weight of it. So there are restrictions even for that. So you get one every quarter.
So she gets to select what she wants?
Yeah, she can go onto this website. I'll actually post one on our social media. You can go browse through. It's the food is it reminds me of what you would find at the Dollar Tree. So they can get fully cooked barbecue. They can get fully cooked meat. And then they rig things in their cell, and it's fascinating. It's fascinating. There are TikToks out there that show people incarcerated now who have who have buffed their metal bunk down, and they put a hot plate underneath, and that thing fries like it's on the stove. And then they use certain ingredients from breakfast or lunch, and then they add taco seasoning they get in the canteen or their care packages. And I mean, they're making crazy stuff, and they're frying chicken in their sinks. I'm not even kidding.
Okay, so Food Network, if you're listening, there needs to be a new show where you show what you can cook in prison.
Prison food challenge.
Prison food challenge.
Yeah, some of these guys, I don't know how they're allowed to have cell phones as contraband, as we found out with Lori Vallow. You're not supposed to have them in prison.
Well, I just want to say this. When you was talking about you select stuff, I thought it sounded like she making an Amazon wish list.
Well, it's kind of like that, but for prison stuff, and this is not luxurious.
Gotcha.
So it's not like you get happy. I can send her stuff through Amazon as far as books go. She can get books anytime. But for the most part, what I've decided to do is just keep the stamps coming so that she can email me.
Yeah.
That is because she's given us information, and she has no money.
Yeah.
So it helps all of us understand the prison experience in depth.
Yeah. So Sarah gave us a topic for the title for the Food Network, Felon Food Network. There you go.
That's nice,
That's
Sarah.
right, that's right.
Next time Sarah's in town, we're gonna have to have a mic ready
Yeah,
for
we'll
her.
hook you up. So.
Yes.
So she goes on to say we were talking about being in certain areas. So she gives an example of a friend of hers who dropped off some soup for a sick friend in another cell. And she was caught and lost her day room privileges for 30 days, which that's where the phones are located. So she couldn't call out for 30 days.
Right. And then she was telling me that when one of their roommates, a pod near them, one of the roommates died of cancer in her cell. And she had been sick for a while, but the other people in the cell were strip searched, shackled, taken out of that unit until the coroner could officially say her cause of death was from cancer. So even though the woman was dying and it was expected, until that coroner come in there and verified that it was a natural death, they were removed in case it was not a natural death. And she said it was just very odd that these women who had nursed this woman and held her in their arms as she died was then treated as if maybe they had something to do with it.
Wow.
There are people in there who have been in there for 30, 40 years. Some of these people went in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
So you have elderly people in jail.
That'd be weird to see.
Yeah, it would, but you know, if you think about it, somebody like that, they've lived more of their life in prison than they ever did free.
Yep.
That's all they know. And that was part of the Shawshank Redemption. Do you remember Red?
Oh yeah.
When or no, remember the older guy that went out and
He went in the library, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he pushing a car to the library or something?
Yeah, he was the guy that had the little bird, I think.
Yeah.
Wasn't he taking care of the bird? And
Yeah,
then
I
he
think
couldn't
so.
handle life. He almost got hit by a car going across the street because when he went in, there weren't cars.
Yeah.
And so she was talking about how some of these women who have been in 30, 40 years, they don't know what email is. They don't know what a cell phone is. They have no clue about any tech, things like that. So she says, you have to be really careful talking to these older women who have been in there for a long time, because if you're talking about current things, it's lost, and then the person gets frustrated and they feel like they're out of the loop. And she says that can cause an outburst.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about being in their bunks, and she said it works best when 2 people are out. Dude, that'd be crazy. Okay, it's my time to be out of bunk. You gotta get in your bunk.
Right. And the thing is this, and this is where I would probably just explode inside. But the one thing she was, and this is kind of gross, but one thing she was telling me is when the prison food definitely messes your stomach up. So she said, if you can think it away from coming out your mouth, you're not so successful the other way. And so when stuff like that happens, you're in a room with 700 people and they see and hear everything.
Dude, I'm out. I'm tapping out.
I
on that
would
one.
hold my stuff in until I just exploded.
You would be in the med suite.
I would spontaneously combust in that
Excuse
cell.
me, can I have a private bathroom?
There's no privacy.
Yeah.
So,
You had to rig a curtain or something. But that still
you
don't help with
can't.
other stuff.
You can't. I mean, it's against the rules. You'll get in trouble.
I know. I
can't
meant
hide
like
yourself.
make a wall. Everybody make a wall.
I know,
Turn your
yeah.
head. Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't imagine.
No, I'm out.
I used to not be able to go to the bathroom in public till I was like 15. It just creeped me out.
Dude, in high school, we would go home.
Oh, yeah.
Leave campus. To go to the
Exactly.
bathroom. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I forgot about all that.
Yeah.
Here we are talking about our bathroom habits.
This is
People
great.
are like, move on, move
yeah,
on.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going. So communicating, I'm still laugh. Communicating with inmates and other blocks requires creativity, and notes are traded on the job, classes, or groups.
Yeah. Because you're not supposed to communicate with anybody from a different yard. So, and the other thing she said is the claustrophobia, it contributes a lot to violence in cells.
I could see that.
I could too.
I mean,
don't
you
know that
think
I could
about
be
it.
locked in a cell with you like 23 hours a
No,
day. and
you
not,
think
like-
about it. How many times you get in a fight in a car when you was going on vacation somewhere, in the car like 17 hours? And
Oh,
you wanted
yeah,
to kill
yeah.
your brother or
I
something.
know. And then your dad's like waving his hand down the middle and missing you, and you're like bobbing and weaving, so you miss the
Yeah,
hand.
swatting
Don't
at
make me
you.
pull it over.
Don't make me pull this car over.
Yeah, I think we might have been threatened to be put in the trunk a few times. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
That one Disney trip. Whew.
I will get the switch. I tell your kids that when we're going somewhere.
Get
And
the
they'll
switch.
they'll start saying something. I'll say, "Don't make me pull this car over."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, do you remember when we were kids and they would make you go pick the switch you were gonna get slapped with?
Oh,
or
yeah.
get spanked with?
Yeah, at first I picked like a really nice one.
Yeah.
No, then I learned. Oh no,
You got to get a thicker switch. Them small ones, man, they got some
yeah,
velocity.
they tear you up.
Yeah, they will.
Yep.
Um,
Okay, there was our ADD moment.
sorry.
Thanks for making that little journey with us.
And so we were talking earlier about the most rare prisoners are white, middle-class, non-gang, and non-drug background women. They have the hardest time learning how to communicate and how to adjust in prison. And so we're looking at Lori, we're looking at Letitia, people like that, because prison, according to her, is a melting pot of social and economic upbringings. You have people that had privileged upbringings, and then you have inmates who lived through things you and I couldn't even imagine as children and teenagers. And a lot of times that contributes to why they're there. They
Yeah.
never learned to deal. They never got help. Not excusing crime, but a lot of these women seem very broken. And a lot of it goes back to abuse in childhood, abuse in teen years, or abuse of spouse. It seems to be contagious.
Yep.
That some of these women cannot break free of those things in their childhood and early adulthood.
Vicious cycle.
Yeah, I mean, you and I are so lucky. I mean, my childhood was perfect.
I'm blessed with how
could-
I was raised, and
You and I both. I mean, I couldn't have handpicked better parents, grandparents, brother, aunts, uncles. I mean, it's been a fairy tale for me. And then it's just hard to imagine that what we lived, so many people, I mean, children now all the way to people on death row have lived something completely opposite than what we have.
Sure.
And we have we can't understand the thought process of some of these people because we haven't even begun to live through a quarter of what they have.
Yeah.
And that was what she said, is that what you find with a lot of these people is just a broken childhood beyond.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean, I'm very blessed with how I was brought up. I mean, the discipline part of it could have been a little bit different.
I got it easier because I was the only girl.
Dude, I was the only girl.
No.
But my dad didn't discipline as far as spanking me or my brother.
Yeah, I got very few.
Dude, my mom, she's disciplinarian. She'd tear you up.
I could see your dad not being the spanker and your mom being the spanker.
Oh yeah, my brother one time when he was a kid, he was acting out somewhere. My mom said, "When I get you home, I'm gonna whoop you. And you're in the South, so you're gonna get a whooping." And he got out the car, took off running through the woods.
Oh no, that's so funny.
So he got like double whooping.
Oh yeah, when you run or put your hand back there.
Yeah.
And then it, like that knuckle gets it, you won't do that twice.
Yeah, it's like the spin whoop. You remember that? Like you would dodge it so you'd stay and go in a circle.
It's like do-si-doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Swing your partner round and round. Yeah. Yeah.
And it just made the parents madder.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was worse. It was my brother, he would just take it.
Yeah.
No.
I don't spank my kid.
I'm bobbing and weaving.
Oh yeah. I was like Muhammad Ali up there.
Yep. Float like a butterfly.
And that belt stung like a bee.
Sting like a bee. That's right.
No,
yeah.
I've not spanked my kids, and thank goodness they're awesome and really well behaved.
I was about to just throw funny in there and say, I know. No, I'm just no.
So how many minutes we've been doing this, Fruit Loop?
We're right at an hour. We'd probably be a good place to stop.
This is a really good place to stop, guys. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface with this.
I'm going to tell you, after just what we've covered today, Lori, y'all, she's going to have it rough. She is going to have it rough. Her little chameleon, where she tries to fit in everywhere she goes,
it's not going to work.
No, it's going to run out.
She also said that people that are in for very notorious cases, as you know, also the woman that we talked about that got beaten in the prison yard, the more media popular your case was, the more of a target you are too. So Lori's got a double whammy. Lori and Chad both have a double whammy going in. Their case is worldwide and kids are dead. So she's not gonna have a little cupcake time like she does here in this tiny prison. She's eating this gourmet prison food. And my friend says most days you don't even know what you're getting. It's not identifiable. But eventually she's going to have to be in a pod with 7 other women potentially, and they're going to know what she did. So,
yeah, it's been eye-opening for me. So I'm just saying she going to struggle. She is going to struggle.
Yeah. So we think that just with what she has sent me so far, we have enough for a few months, easily every episode to do a little bit. Now we might not always. I think
it's going to depend.
It's going to depend because I'm going to tell you 2 things that I'm going to bet the farm on. I think charges are coming sooner than later, and I still think Chad's going to flip on Lori. And I know everybody disagrees with me on this. That's a legal eagle, but I'm telling you, it's every man for himself right now.
He's going to abandon that ship. He going to jump. But like them rats, where Means put them rats on there.
Yeah.
Chad going to be abandoning ship.
I think that's already in process. But everybody, a lot of the people say no. They think that they're together for 20 more eternities on 20 different planets. But on this planet right now, they're going to be spending the rest of their life in jail. And if there's anything they can do to make that a little bit easier on them, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I think that's all.
Yeah, Sarah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I keep wanting to look over and like wave and smile, and then I know I'll just get, you know how I am. I get distracted, and then I have not lost my thought, but like twice this podcast, I'm doing good.
Yeah. So she, what we were speaking, she travels around. She works for a ministry, and they are going to help. And this is really cool. So this just goes along with kids. They're going to help victims coming out of human sex trafficking.
Wow.
Ages 11 to 17.
Ugh.
If you reach out, I'll give you a link or something. But it's a good thing for these kids coming out. They're going to be able to help rehabilitate them back into society. So
it's so sad.
yeah,
I don't know what's wrong with people.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
it's insane. But 11 years old. I mean,
yeah, I can tell you that's average
sure it's
is
younger.
13.
Yeah.
Average is 13. But that's an average. So you go from as young as 2 to whatever. So
yeah, we're
messed up, dude.
We will tweet out the link.
Yeah,
because anything like this is close to our hearts, and Sarah has dedicated a lot of her life to helping these victims, and it's just the most delicate work you can do, but it's just so important.
Yeah, it's a calling for her, definitely, because that's stressful stuff.
That is, I don't know that I could be around child victims of that. Just my heart wouldn't let me.
Yep, it's tough. So, but thanks, Sarah, for watching and giving us. Oh wait, I got to tell you what that thing was called. I was talking about, at Disney World. It's called a pillory. It's like a stock, so it's a device made of a wooden or metal framework on a post. You know what I'm talking about? You stick your head through in your hands.
Yeah, I thought it was the guillotine. I thought
no, that's cutting people's head off.
Well, I think that's what. Oh,
I'm talking about you stick your head through that hole and your hands through there, and then they lock it.
Well, I think on Game of Thrones I saw a basket at the bottom of one of those, so I was just like, okay, well that's what it was. Hey, as many times as we've been to Disney World, have we ever pulled the sword out? The sword and the stone or whatever.
Yeah. I don't think we did.
We gotta go back to Disney.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
My kids are so much older now, teenagers, and they still want to go.
Yeah, Sarah, that's where she grew up in Orlando. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That would have been so fun. Were you going to talk about our road trip? We're still working on it.
Yeah, we planning. We need. If you are an RV, you need to just hook us up.
Yeah, we need to borrow somebody's RV for 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah,
a nice one though.
Dude, we ain't rolling with no cousin Eddie. Cousin Eddie on Christmas Vacation.
Okay, Fruit Loop and I randomly quote Christmas Vacation throughout the year.
Yes, that movie has so many one-liners.
Yes,
it is not even funny.
Oh man.
We won't even start that because we'll be here another 20 minutes.
All right, guys. So we will talk to you guys on Sunday. We're going to continue what we're doing here. It's Thursday, so if anything crazy happens tomorrow, with this, a lot of people think that maybe charges would drop on a Friday, so that way they could avoid the media all weekend. But if anything like that comes up, you're in town kind of indefinitely now. If you go anywhere at this point, I think the next time it's in my car.
Yeah.
So we can do a portable podcast.
Yeah. So Rob, I mean, we're just wanting you to go ahead and drop. Oh, not drop. People freak out when we say that.
People are like, no, you're just telling him to not drop.
They're not dropping technically, like doing away with the charges. We mean like, let's go.
Yes. Drop the charges down on Chad and Lori.
Yeah. So they get charged.
Press charges.
Thank
you, Sarah.
See, that's why we got Sarah here.
Oh my gosh, we need
We're
her
gonna
here.
have to keep her here. That was pretty good.
Because she's just sitting here listening to us go, and she's like over there mouthing.
Yeah.
I got to learn to read lips better.
I know, right?
Because I thought she was clapping her hands and saying, that was great.
Yeah. But we haven't ended yet, so it's not over. Yeah. So, but yeah, good deal.
All
and we will see y'all Sunday.
Have a good one.
Hey, don't forget to ask questions if you want her to ask.
Yes, she is willing to answer questions from you guys. And she's let me know, nothing's off topic. We're not going to cover certain prison topics on here because we like to keep it to where if you got your kids in the car, you can listen.
We family G-rated.
You can just imagine or watch Orange is the New Black. If you're curious about that.
Go down that road yourself.
But if you guys have any questions for her, shoot them our way. She's very good at responding. She has a lot of time on her hands. So, but yeah, so I think this is going to be neat for us. We have so much more to cover. The pregnancy stuff is very, I don't care how you look at it, it's sad.
Yeah.
Sad, horrible, hard, mainly for the kid.
Yep.
But all right, guys.
Hey, starting tomorrow, I'm older than you till your birthday.
I know your birthday's tomorrow.
That's right. I've been celebrating all week. I've been celebrating since last week.
You know what cracks me up is when women our age put on Facebook, it's my birthday month. I got a day.
No, I'm just doing the week.
Yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah. See, we went out and ate last week, and now it's tomorrow.
Did I give you your gift?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, I was just making sure because I didn't get a card, so I verbally gave you a card.
Yeah.
And made it up on the spot, and it was very Hallmark worthy.
Yeah.
So,
my parents do that. They go to Walmart, pick out a card, and say, "Here's your card." They read it and then put it back.
You're my best friend. Thanks for all your support through the years, through the laughter, through the tears.
There you go.
Happy birthday, Fruit Loop.
Did you just make that up?
I did.
That's pretty good.
Man, I should be a rapper.
There you go.
All right.
All right, guys. See ya. Hear from you. Whatever.
Yeah. Hey, wish this girl a happy birthday tomorrow. We want our Twitter and Facebook full for Fruit Loop.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right. Well, I know you in.
Send cake. Yeah.
Sugar-free cake.
No, don't do sugar-free to kill
Listen
you.
to this diabetic
It'll
over
kill
here.
you.
We're going to be doing a podcast from ICU.
No,
if
watch
we ain't
this.
careful.
Watch this. If you're a diabetic and you listen, do not eat sugar-free candy. It will kill you.
Really?
It's horrible.
Just taste-wise?
No, like what it does to your intestines.
Oh.
It's not good.
Okay. We have definitely done the Southern goodbye here. We've said goodbye 4 times.
Yes, yes. All right, we're really going this time. Man.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.